guys, so this video is on finding slope and y-intercept. This is from Unit 4. Alright, so definition. Y-intercept is the point on the graph where the line crosses the y-axis. So other words that mean that are initial value. You also might hear it called the starting point. Okay, so an example of a y-intercept is on a table. Alright, it is when x is 0. So in this case, the y-intercept is 6. Alright, on a graph, it's where it crosses the y-axis. Alright, so here, let's say this is 6, that means this is a y-intercept on a graph. Alright, so that's two ways you'll see it. You'll see it from a table or a graph. Alright, then the other thing we talked about this unit was the change in y divided by the change in x, and that is the slope. Other words for slope are rate of change. Alright, and it's something per 1 of something. Okay, so an example of that on a table is we're looking at how does the change happen between the y values compared to the x. So the y goes up 2, the x goes up 1, and then we divide them. On a graph, we're looking for how does it change from one point to the next. So same thing, plus 1, plus 2, and then we would divide to get the same answer. Alright, so let's talk about slope first. So the graph shows the distance traveled by an Olympic sprinter over time during the race. Find the slope of the line. So there's two ways we can do it. We can either do it from straight points from a table, from the graph, or I can put those points into a table. Alright, so if I put these in a table format, alright, this first coordinate comes from 0, 0, and then the next coordinate comes from 2, 20. Alright, so my change in y is how much it's changing, and it's going up 20 spaces. And then my change in x is how much the x values are changing, and that goes up 2. So now I take my two values that we just got, and I divide them. So 20 divided by 2 is 10. So my slope is 10. Alright, so what does that represent? It represents, alright, and this is always our format. So it goes y-axis, so slope, y-axis per 1, whatever is on the x-axis. Okay, so what I mean by that is, what is the slope? 10. What is on the y-axis? So when I look at my units on the y-axis, it says the distance in meters. 10 distance in meters per 1. X-axis is time in seconds. Okay, so 10 meters in 1 second is what the slope represents. Alright, so I'm going to simplify that. 10 meters in 1 second. That will work every single time, so all you have to do is translate it. Okay, let's do it again. So the table shows the distance of a train traveled over time. All right, so find the slope. It's already in table format for us. So I'm just going to go ahead and jump straight into change in y, which is up 25. And our change in x is up 2. Change in y divided by the change in x, 25 divided by 2. And that gets me 12.5. All right, explain its meaning. So same format that we did before. I'm going to copy and paste that. Okay, so what is the slope? The slope is 12.5. What was the y-axis or the y values talking about? Distance in meters again. So 12.5 meters per 1. And then we look at our time, which is also in seconds again. All right, let's keep it moving. All right, y-intercept. What is the y-intercept of the graph? So we have it on a graph. So where is it crossing the y-axis? This is my y-axis. This is my line. Where are they intersecting? They are intersecting right here. So my y-intercept is 0. Okay? Now what does the y-intercept represent? It represents, and this always works, the y-axis when x-axis is 0. So think of this as a template. So for this situation, the y-intercept represents the y-axis is gallons when x-axis is time is 0. All right, so let's do that again. So here's my line. Here's my y-axis. Where are they intersecting? They're intersecting right here at 80. So my y-intercept is 80. All right, what does it represent? Same thing. All right, so what is the y-axis in this case? Okay, it represents the height in meters when time is 0. So what is the height? Let's be specific. The height, 80 meters, when time is 0. Alright, now I know this is a longer video, but it is super important information. Please go ahead if you have any questions, make sure to write them at the end. We'll practice this more in class on Tuesday, June 4th.